Hello and welcome to day 20 of our 90 days data analytics series. Today I'm going to show you how to create charts. I know I already showed you how to create charts from pivot tables earlier, but today I'm just going to show you how to create charts from your data set itself, like from this data set without creating pivot table. How can we create charts? Quick insights. Also, I would be explaining to you some data cleaning tips that I did not explain earlier. So I'll be sharing some of the tips that you used in your day-to-day activity in this tutorial. One of the charts I would show you how to use today is Heatmap. Let's get straight into the video. So first, I will show you how to create charts from this data set itself without having to create pivot tables first. And I've already explained what chart is when we talked about how to advanced pivot table earlier, where I said that charts and dashboard is just like a visual representation of what your summary analysis or what your analysis is talking about, right? So now I'm going to first highlight the data set, right? And then I'll come here under the ribbon tab. I'll click on insert. In this insert, I'm gonna look for, so instead of coming here to create pivot table, I would come here to recommended to charts. This is the chart section. So you can pick any charts you want, but I'm gonna click on recommended charts because I have a lot of data sets and I want Excel to just look at my data, the one I highlighted, and think of something like the insight I can quickly gain from it. So if I click on recommended chart here, and before you go through this step, make sure that your data is already cleaned, right? You cannot be using dirty data. You are going to get wrong insight, remember. So you can see Excel has already has some recommended charts from the highlighted data. We have count of employee ID by products. Okay. So we have employee, you can see employee ID here, and then we have product. So it's gonna count. You can see that this product column is like a categorical data, right? So it's counted how many employee appears in each of the product category, and it looks like conditional products is the one with highest employee count, right? And then if you go to the second chart, it gave us insights on the unit price, the total unit price by product, all right, how much we made per product. It looks like conditional also gave us the most sales. If you look here, you can see sum of total sales by product, another chart, sum of total sales by region, gain insight into what region we made the most sales. From here, we can see that it's the West region, and on like that. So it's going to give us basically different type of charts. And then you remember I talked about bar charts giving us, so clustered and bar chart is more like the same thing, right? So one is like in a horizontal, one is like in a vertical form. So this is still a bar chart too. And you remember we said bar chart is just to compare categories, right? So, and then we have different type of chart. This is histogram. Histogram is the one that is close to each other. There's no space. But bar charts, it will be separated by spaces in between, right? We have this is a bubble chart, okay? I don't think I've ever had to use a bubble chart, all right? But I've used the scatter plot anyways. So it is used, you can see here, it is similar to a scatter chart. Okay, it's similar to a scatter plot. It is used to show relationship between set of values, blah blah blah. So you can read that up. So we have different types of charts basically, and this is how you can quickly create a chart. So let me click on this first one and just click OK. So you can see that it automatically created the pivot table and then the chart without us having to go to the pivot table first and then creating the chart. But I'd advise you use the pivot table first, because if you have a business question your stakeholder is asking you, then it only makes sense that you create a pivot table first, because creating the pivot table first will kind of like give you ownership of what you want to do, right? You'll be the one to do it, right? Okay, so another thing I said we're going to do some small little data cleaning. Most of the time when you're working with like companies data, I work with dates a lot. Like there's mostly dates included in the data sets. Let me change this column header to date. All right, so let's say for example they are asking me that what month did we sell the highest units, that kind of thing. I cannot use this column directly to create a pivot table. It's not going to give me what I want. So what I can do is I can first create a new column. insert, I'll first do some type of like data cleaning. Let's call it data cleaning. So I can call this month, right? So from this September 2023, July 2023, May 2023, I want to extract the month out. So I can create now a dashboard. So I can create now a chart that shows me the monthly trend of something. So what you can do to extract only the months from this column is just to do, if you can see, this is not written in a date format. This is how a date is written properly, but this is just sep 2023, so I'm sure Excel will not see it as date, right? Let's try to change it to date here, short date. Can you see that nothing happened because it's not really saying it as date? This is how, not how date is written. So to get the months out, we can just do equals to, so there's something that we call left and right function, right? We use left function if I want to extract like the first three letters here. Whether you're trying to extract numbers or letters, you can use the left or the right function for that. So let's see how it works. So I can do left. You can see it returns the specified number of characters from the start of a text string. All right, and then it's going to ask me for the text. So I'll click on this D2 cell, then I'll do comma, then it's asking me for the number of character, like counting from the left, how many characters do I want to extract, right? So counting from the left, I want to extract the months, which is 1, 2, 3. So as you can see in this column, all the months are written in 3 letters, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just gonna do 3, right, and press enter. You can see it got the first 3 for me. Then I can double click here, double click here to do it for the other cells. Okay, so let's say now that I've extracted the month, I want to try to create a chart from it or something. If I come here to insert chart, it might be giving me irrational things. Can you see? I don't even want this chart that is giving me for these 2 columns. So it's best I create a pivot table so I can have the chance to like create whatever I want, right? So I can click on pivot table. Okay, just create a pivot table. And remember, I highlighted only the 2 columns, so that's why we only have 2 columns here. So I can check the months. You can see it has shown me the months that I extracted, and also I can check the units sold. You can see now that it gave me an analysis. So it looks like we have a dirty data set. We have no values. I didn't clean the data, remember. Remember to always clean your data before analysis. This is just because I've explained data cleaning to you, and the major point of this tutorial is to show you how to create charts. So that's why I didn't bother going there, so that we don't keep wasting time. All right, so I can actually remove those blanks. If I go back to check my data set and I realize that there's actually no blank, so we can just add filter. Let's add filter first. So I've added filter. Let me click here and see. Can you see that we actually do not have blank here? There's no blank, right? And it's showing us blank in our pivot table. Sometimes the reason for that, can you see there's no blank here too? So sometimes the reason for that is if you scroll down to the end of your data, it might be because of this extra space that you have down here. That's why it's showing you blank. It's not like you have blank in your data. So to first inspect it, you can add data filter like I just did to check if there's actually blank. If there's blank, it's going to show you. Then you can uncheck all and then check the blanks yourself to see. But if there are no blanks, then you are sure that there are no blanks. You can come back to this pivot table, click on this, and then right here where you have the month, okay, you can click on the drop down beside the months here, and then you see the blank, just uncheck it and say okay. Can you see that it removed it? Okay, so that's just a tweak. But do not do that if your data set itself has null values. Make sure that you look for a way to fix the null values, is either by removing the null values or by replacing it. All right, so make sure you do one of that instead of doing this method. I did this method because we don't have null values. Excel is just assuming that we do. I just showed you how to extract the first 3. So we can also do for the year, all right? So I can use the right function to extract the year. I can do equals to using the right function, and I can click on this and do comma. So the year is the last 4. We are counting from the right this time. I'm using the right function, so we can do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can do 4 and enter. You can see 2023. If I click here, It's going to do that for every other thing. So it looks like it's only 2023 data we are working with, right? All right, so that's how to work with basically the date column, but this date is not written as date, remember. So let me show you how you can extract the month, the year from an actual date format column. If I click on this, I wrote this example just to show you. If I click on this, you see that this is actually a date format. It's having the day first, the month, then the year. All I can do is select the column, right click, and then you're going to see format cell, right? I'll click format cell. Let's say I'm trying to extract only the, let's say I'm trying to extract the months, right? And you see that this is 1011, that's like the month number, but I want it to actually show me the month's name. Instead of 10, I want it to tell me October. Instead of 11, I want it to tell me November. So what I'll do is come here to the custom, and I'll clear this general and change it to MMMM if I want months. All right, if I want it to show me the month's name. So if I click OK, you can see it changed it to October and November. Let me undo that. All right, let's try to extract the day of week. We can also extract what day of the week it is. So for example, 26th of October 2022, what day of the week was that day? We can get it from here. So I can right click and format cell again, custom, then I'll just do DDDD. Oh, sorry, you cancel that, DDDD, then okay. You can see both days were on a Wednesday. Let's undo that. You can also extract the year using this format, right? You can do this and just do y. So that's 4. You write it 4 times. You can see that it extracted the year out. So this is how we just work. You're going to be working with date columns. Like in most of the data sets, we'll have like dates or something relating to time series data. So this is how you can extract it. So for example, if your stakeholder is asking you for monthly trend of sales, and they gave you, and you can only find the dates in the column, so you have to extract the months out first before you can now do your analysis. So this is what I've just showed you. And sometimes when you format sales like this, when you format sales and try to extract it like that, if you try to create a pivot table with it, it might be acting funny and just be giving you something like this format on your pivot table. Just learn it now, you would need it later. This shortcut I want to give you took me about 2 to 3 hours when I was working on a project trying to figure it out. It was a lot, but I'm gonna teach you, don't worry. So just keep it in mind just in case in the future you need it, okay? So if all of the strategy I just gave you, all of the method, the first method of extracting, like using the left right function, did not work, and this format cell too, it worked, but when you want to create pivot table is acting funny, what you should do is, the last method that I have that I use during my project is, you can use a text function to extract the month and the day and the year also, and that worked perfectly for my project then. So you can do equals to, and then you do a text function, and then you click on the value, then you do comma, then it's going to ask you for the format you want the text to be. So let's say I'm trying to extract the month's name. I'll put in a quote, then I'll type MMMM. So I'm trying to extract the month's name. Remember, it's 4 hems we use. Then I'll say enter. Can you see it gave me October? And then I can double click. It's gonna give me for this one, which is November, right? So if I'm also gonna do for the day of the week, I can do equals to text, right? I click on the value, comma. So let's say we want to do for DDDD, and then we enter. Can you see Wednesday? And if you try to use this in a pivot table, I'm sure you'd have no problems at all. All right, so I've showed you how you can create different types of charts when we were talking about pivot table, right? But there are some charts I didn't show you how to create, right? We talk about how to create Heatmap, right? And you may need this for your analysis. So I'm just going to show you how to create the Heatmap now. Right, so let's try to create another pivot table. Let's say we want to know the monthly sales by region, right? So that means we are working with 3 different columns. We want to know the monthly sales, months, sales, and region, right? So what we are going to do is we can drag the region, the categorical data region, we can drag it to the rows. Oh, sorry. We can drag it to the rows. Then we can drag the months to the columns. And then the sales, that's the total sales, we can drag it to the values. All right, and now we have a table, a pivot table showing us the monthly sales by region. You can say that in the East region, April 2023, this is what we have, but it's not supposed to be showing me as April 2023, August 20. I just want to see the months, not the year. Back here, insert a new column and use the test function this time around. So that's why I first explained the different approach to working with date column. It could be very frustrating at times. I've been there, and that's why I'm just showing you every possible ways to fix it. Okay, so let's try to use this column now. I hope you saw what I did because I was just busy talking while doing it. So I used the text function to extract the month name out of this column, right? So let me go back to my this thing and let's refresh. Okay, so you can see we now have that column. Let me remove this one and put in that one. Okay, so you can see now that it makes sense. It's now arranging it January, February, March, April. So that is why I showed you different ways to work with the date column. And you can see how effective it is now. So we are trying to create Heatmap from this monthly sales by region. So what I'm going to do is you're going to highlight this numbers, like the values. You will not highlight it with the column header or the row header, just the values, right? After highlighting your values, then we can come to the conditional formatting here, and then we do a color scale. So we can do a color scale of red. So the largest value will take green color, the middle one, like the number that is in between. So let's say we have like 1 to 10. So 10 will take green color, that's the highest value between 1 to 10. 5, which is in between, like the middle value, will be like yellow color. Red, which is like the least value, will be like red color. So let's use this particular color scale. You can use different color scale as you can see right there. So you can see we have green. So you know that anywhere you see green, that means that there's high sales there. Instead of just looking at these numbers, that's the best way to like visually represent. So if you show your stakeholders a table like this, they easily know that, oh, okay, that means in January in the West region we had the highest sales, followed by in June in the West region. So it looks like most of our sales, like where we have high sales, is in the West region, right? By just looking at the colors. Imagine I did not have the colors, we would have just been saying, oh, looking at the numbers, which one is high, which is very, very stressful and technical. We can also remove these numbers, right? We can remove these numbers so that it's just the color we are saying. So we can highlight it back. I'm going to do Control 1 to open the format cells, right? Or you can highlight it and right click and then you see format cells, then you can click on it, or you do Control 1. All right, so now I'll choose custom, and in this type I'm gonna just type in this not that, this column sign. Is it column or semicolon? I don't remember. Okay, so I'm just gonna click OK. You can see it to remove the numbers, and now we have Heatmap showing the monthly sales by region. We can see that in the West region we have high sales, right, in January and also in June, right, followed by maybe North region in February, followed by July. So the places where we have the least sales are like South region in March, then also North region in November. This so the yellow are the one in between, they are just neutral, nothing much, nothing serious. So you can create Heatmap for data that they just want to see, maybe where there's high concentration or low concentration, that kind of insight. That's when you can use Heatmap. We are going to be stopping here for today. Tomorrow we are going to talk about data validation in Excel. So try to practice this Heatmap and all the date formatting that I explained to you. Try to walk through it and see which one works, which one doesn't, and when to use each one of them. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.